Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode in the podcast of CoolSpace XP. I have a lot to talk about in a short amount of time for the CoolSpace XP podcast, and I think it's important that we go in this direction for this podcast for a couple of reasons, and that's what I'll get into in this podcast episode. So, I think it should be a podcast episode in of itself because it's an evolution of the podcast. So, I said so many times, but this is what we're going to do from now on with the Cool Space XP podcast. The way that this will work is I want to start off by saying the length of the podcast episodes will vary. It may be really short, it may be really long. It just depends on how the conversation or the thoughts flow and if there is any. I don't want to ramble on the podcast. I want to get to the point and I want to actually have an interesting episode. I don't want to like try to stretch it out for like an hour. Unless some episodes may last an hour. That's the thing. We'll have episodes that are an hour, but if it's like 8 minutes long, that's okay too. We will do that from now on with the podcast episodes. Also, we started this podcast, and I'll be changing the description of the podcast uh, shortly after this comes out. But we started this podcast primarily as like board game and gaming, and what I've come to realize is like most of the time, yeah, I love talking about gaming or board games, but I have other topics that I just want to like do random conversation podcast topics too. So, with that being said, I'm gonna kind of open it up to just whatever I think of, and the reason for that is because, uh, I mean, even like I'm just I feel like that's like there's so many ways we could be creative and talk about different things on the podcast, other than gaming, because there's a bunch of things out there that like I like to do and I would love to do podcast episodes about. So, and just learning new things too. I don't want to just be about gaming. I think there's a lot of opportunity for other things on the podcast. So that is primarily why I'm going to be doing kind of just open ended, whatever I decide to do, whatever I feel like doing. That way, it gives you more variety, it gives you more surprises, gives you more interesting topics. If you are somebody who doesn't like, one topic, but another topic comes on and you like it. So, definitely going to start doing that for the podcast. We're still going to do one episode a month unless things change, but obviously, I've always updated you guys when things change. Um, But yeah, one episode a month. It's just been hard to like write episodes or like think of ideas and like do all the videos, make videos, do live streams, edit videos, um, and also do like work full time and do all that. So, and I'm a one man operation right now currently. So, I don't have any editors or people that are helping me at the moment. I'm doing this entirely by myself. So, hope you guys understand. I love doing this, and that is not me saying complaining or anything like that. That is just me saying, hey, I'm only one guy, and I only have some time. I also have a family, and I just got a lot of things that I have to tend to. So, with that, I can't just do this, which is something that I will hope to do one day, be able to just do this and this be kind of like a job, if you will. But even if then, I still will be a busy bee because that's always how I've been. I've always wanted to, work on a project or start something new and do that. But with all of that, I just want you guys to know that the podcast episodes, I feel like the quality will go up with thinking on this. I've thought about this for about 2 weeks now, because I even think I asked the community how they felt about maybe a podcast rebrand, if you will, or change on the way we do things on the podcast. And I think it'll be important. And for now, it'll stay definitely on. If you're listening or watching from Spotify, hello. But if you're listening or watching from YouTube, then we will still be on the ColeSpace channel for ColeSpace XP. But down the road, if it ever grows to a point where it is a bigger podcast, we will definitely be making. Not we. I will definitely be making a secondary channel for ColeSpace XP. It will be just like a channel just for the podcast. All that within. But for now, it's just on Spotify and YouTube. Um, Maybe one day we'll do like some different like platforms. I know Apple is a platform. Never did Apple though. I'm sure there's other platforms you can get podcasts on, but I just do YouTube and Spotify at the moment because I'm a baby podcaster. I don't know everything. This is my first podcast I've ever ran. And I started running it last year when I was doing my YouTube stuff too. But and this is not discrediting the podcast at all. But my primary focus on this channel is to make video content for the ColeSpace channel. Like long form videos. That is my number one priority. And then like doing live streams, and then the podcast. That's kind of the hierarchy right now because of the workload and how I have to do things. But let me know. I want you guys to comment either on Spotify or over on YouTube on the ColeSpace YouTube channel, which you should definitely subscribe to. And if you haven't already, please follow and rate the ColeSpace XP podcast on Spotify if you use Spotify at all, because that would help me out a ton, and I appreciate it. Because if you don't prefer YouTube, just a heads up, you can always pull up Spotify, play a podcast. You can turn your phone off, and then it'll still play the podcast around, so you can go for a run, listen to my podcast while you're running, or oh, and I'm still sick. I'm still getting better from being sick, so sorry if you're just listening and you hear me raspiness, but that has been also, I've been dealing with that uh for a week now. But yeah, it's been a really fun journey. This podcast has taught me a lot, and I've really enjoyed it, and I have an urge to expand this podcast into something else other than just gaming. Now, there will still be gaming video podcast episodes. There will still be board game stuff. Like, that's not going away. That was where okay, if you're watching the podcast right now, my chair is slowly lowering, so I'm like shrinking on the screen. It's kind of hilarious. But anyway, just my head was slowly going down. Um, yeah. So just know, guys, that we'll still do gaming. We'll still do board games. And if you have listened this far to the podcast episode, or you enjoy these, please like them. Comment your thoughts. Tell me your favorite part of the episode. I love engaging with the audience through the comment section. That's such a great way to do things. Very safe way to do things. Always be safe out there. And hello everybody. This is the last part of that podcast episode that I was talking about.
I'm just going to finish it up here because I didn't want to just finish on a random thought. I wanted to finish it like this because I wanted to tell you all, yes, the podcast, we are going to expand it into kind of anything I can think of. I feel like it's just an evolution of the podcast, and I'm very, very excited for you guys to see new podcast episodes. We will always still do the gaming topics, gaming news, anything like that. We will still be doing that, and board game stuff for sure. But I'm opening it up so I have more creative control and stuff like that. But with that being said, thank you all for being here on this podcast episode. This was a short podcast episode, but some of them will be short, some of them may be long. Like I said in this update episode, this will be the episode, and then I will come out with one soon whenever I can. We've been playing a lot of games, doing a lot of videos outside of games. So I'm excited to show you guys those. And thank you all for watching this podcast episode. Please listen or rate or watch this episode. And also comment and tell me what you think about this episode and how you feel about the new topics we might be talking about. And if there's any episode ideas that you have, just shoot them down in the comments. Oh my gosh, my phone just blew up. Just shoot them down in the comments, and then I will possibly do them. So, with that being said, thank you all for watching, and bye. See you in the next podcast episode.